Hey Taurus, I need to talk to you about something that just came up in your reading, and honestly, this is one of those moments where the cards are showing me something really fascinating about your situation. So grab your coffee or tea and let me walk you through what I am seeing here because this energy is absolutely worth discussing. You know that feeling when you think someone has completely moved on from you or lost interest, and you have kind of accepted it and started to move forward yourself? Well, the universe has something really interesting to say about that assumption. I just pulled the cards for you, and what is showing up here is telling a completely different story than what you might be thinking right now. Let me start by setting the scene of what is actually happening in your energy right now. The first card that came through is the Wheel of Fortune, and I have to tell you, this card showing up in this position is incredibly significant. The Wheel of Fortune is all about cycles, karma, and those moments in life where everything suddenly shifts in a direction you did not see coming. This is not a subtle energy card. This is the universe basically saying that a major turn of events is about to happen in your situation. What makes this particularly interesting for your reading, Taurus, is that the Wheel of Fortune often appears when we think we have figured out how a situation is going to play out, and then, boom, everything changes. You might have been operating under the assumption that this person has lost interest in you or has moved on completely. Maybe they have been distant. Maybe the communication has dropped off. Maybe you have noticed that they are not putting in the same effort they used to. And from your perspective, it probably looked pretty clear-cut, right? Like, okay, this person is done, they have checked out, time to accept reality and move forward. But here is what the Wheel of Fortune is showing me. That conclusion you reached, that assumption you made, it is about to be turned completely on its head. The wheel is turning, and with that turn comes a revelation that is going to change everything you thought you knew about this situation. This card is telling me that there is so much happening beneath the surface that you have not been aware of. While you were thinking this person had lost interest, there has actually been an entirely different dynamic playing out that you could not see. The Wheel of Fortune also speaks to timing and divine timing specifically. Sometimes we meet people or situations enter our lives, and we think we know exactly how and when things should unfold. But the universe has its own timeline, and the wheel reminds us that there are larger forces at work, orchestrating things in ways that serve our highest good, even when we cannot see the full picture yet. So this person who you thought had lost interest, their distance, or their behavior, it was all part of a larger cycle that needed to play out exactly as it did. Now let me pull the next card because I need to show you what is actually going on beneath the surface here. The Nine of Wands just came through and, wow, okay, this is telling me so much about what this person has actually been going through. The Nine of Wands is the card of someone who has been through battles, someone who is weary and defensive and guarded. This is not someone who has lost interest in you at all. This is someone who has been protecting themselves. Let me explain what I mean by that. The Nine of Wands shows me someone who has been hurt before, someone who has walls up, someone who has learned to be cautious because past experiences taught them that vulnerability can lead to pain. When this card shows up in a reading about someone else's feelings or behavior, it is usually telling me that the person is not acting from a place of disinterest. They are acting from a place of self-preservation. So while you were interpreting their distance as a loss of interest, what was actually happening is that they were going through their own internal struggle. They were dealing with their own fears, their own wounds, their own doubts about whether they could trust this connection or whether they would end up getting hurt again. The Nine of Wands person is someone who has been knocked down before, and they are standing there battered and bruised but still standing, still holding their wand, still in the game, but very, very cautious about taking another hit. This completely reframes the situation, does it not? Because if you understand that their behavior was not about you or about losing interest, but about their own healing journey and their own protective mechanisms, then everything looks different. They were not pulling away because they did not care. They were pulling away because they cared too much and that scared them. They were not being distant because you were not important to them. They were being distant because you were becoming too important and they needed to protect themselves from that vulnerability. The Nine of Wands is also showing me that this person has been watching you from a distance. Even when they seemed checked out or disengaged, they were actually paying attention. They were observing how you handled their distance, watching to see if you would chase them or give them space, noticing whether you would pressure them or allow them to work through their process. And I have to tell you, Taurus, your response to their distance has actually been teaching them something important about who you are and whether they can trust you. Now here comes the really interesting part, and this is where the brutal change that the title mentions starts to come into play. The Queen of Swords just appeared, and this card is absolutely powerful in this context. The Queen of Swords represents clarity, truth, clear communication, and the ability to cut through illusions and get to the heart of the matter. When the Queen of Swords shows up, it means that a moment of absolute clarity is coming. What I am seeing here is that this person is about to have a major realization. The Queen of Swords brings truth, and sometimes that truth is uncomfortable or difficult to face, but it is necessary. This person has been operating under their own set of assumptions and protective stories. They have been telling themselves certain things to justify their distance or their guardedness. Maybe they convinced themselves that you were not that interested, or that the connection was not that deep, or that they were better off alone. Whatever story they have been telling themselves, the Queen of Swords is coming in to shatter that illusion. The brutal change is not happening to you, it is happening to them. They are about to see the situation with complete and total clarity, and when that clarity hits, it is going to be like a lightning bolt. The Queen of Swords does not do subtle revelations. She brings sharp, clear, undeniable truth. And the truth that is about to hit this person is that they were completely wrong about you losing interest or about the connection not being worth the risk. I am seeing that something is going to happen that makes them realize exactly what they have been taking for granted. The Queen of Swords often brings this energy of sudden awareness, where all the pieces click into place at once. It might be triggered by something specific, like seeing you happy without them, or noticing that you have stopped reaching out, or hearing something about your life that makes them realize how much they have been missing. Or it could be a more internal shift, where they suddenly see through their own defenses and recognize that their fear has been costing them something precious. The Queen of Swords is also telling me that when this realization hits, there will not be any room for denial or rationalization. This is not going to be a vague feeling or a passing thought. This is going to be a crystal clear understanding that hits them right in the chest and makes them see everything differently. And once you see something clearly, you cannot unsee it. That is the power of the Queen of Swords. Let me draw another card because I want to see what happens after this realization hits them. Oh, this is perfect. Strength just came through, and I love when this card shows up because it represents courage, inner power, and the ability to face difficult truths with grace. After the Queen of Swords brings the clarity, strength is the energy that allows them to do something about it. Here's what strength is telling me. Once this person realizes what they have been doing and what they stand to lose, they are going to need courage to move forward. Strength is not about force or aggression. It is about gentle but powerful determination. It is about taming the beast within, which in this case means dealing with their fears and insecurities in a real way, instead of just running from them. The Strength card shows a figure gently closing the mouth of a lion, which is such a perfect metaphor for what this person is going to need to do. They are going to need to gentle their own fears, soothe their own anxieties, and find the courage to be vulnerable even though vulnerability feels terrifying to them. This is not going to be an easy process for them, but the Strength card appearing here tells me they are going to find the inner resources to do it. What I love about Strength in this position is that it shows me this person is capable of growth and transformation. They are not going to stay stuck in their defensive patterns forever. The combination of the Queen of Swords bringing clarity and strength, giving them courage, means that they are going to evolve through this experience. They are going to learn something important about themselves and about relationships, and about what happens when you let fear make your decisions for you. Now I need to show you what is happening on your end of this situation, because the next card that came up is the Three of Cups, and this is really telling. The Three of Cups is all about joy, celebration, community, connection, and living your life fully. What this card is showing me is that while all of this has been happening with this person, you have been doing something really important. You have been living your life. The Three of Cups tells me that you have not been sitting around waiting for this person to get their act together. You have been connecting with friends, enjoying yourself, finding joy in other areas of your life, maybe even opening yourself up to new connections or possibilities. And here is the thing that the cards want you to understand. This has been absolutely essential to the transformation that is about to happen. See? When you show someone that you are not going to put your life on hold for them, when you demonstrate that you have your own sources of joy and connection and fulfillment, it does something powerful. It shows them that if they want to be part of your life, they need to show up properly. The Three of Cups is showing me that your energy has been magnetic not because you were chasing or pursuing, but because you were genuinely happy and fulfilled, and that is incredibly attractive. This card is also telling me that you have been healing and growing through your own social connections and experiences. Maybe you were disappointed or hurt by this person's distance, but instead of dwelling in that pain, you found ways to nurture yourself and find joy. That choice has been preparing you for what is about to unfold, because you are coming into this next phase from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. The Three of Cups can also indicate that your social circle or your connections with others might play a role in what is about to happen. Maybe this person sees you happy with others and it triggers their realization. Maybe mutual friends say something that gives them perspective. Or maybe your energy of joy and connection is just so palpable that it reaches them energetically and makes them understand what they have been missing out on. All right, let me pull the next card because I want to see how this dynamic shifts moving forward. The Two of Cups just came through, and okay, this is significant. The Two of Cups is the card of connection, partnership, mutual attraction, and coming together in a balanced way. After all the cards we have seen about protection and distance and realization, the Two of Cups appearing here is showing me where this is heading. The Two of Cups represents a meeting of equals, a genuine connection where both people are showing up authentically and vulnerably. This is not about one person chasing while the other runs. This is not about games or defenses or walls. This is about two people recognizing that what exists between them is real and worth honoring. The appearance of this card is telling me that after this person goes through their realization and finds their courage, there is potential for a real, authentic connection to form. But I want to be really clear about something here, Taurus. The Two of Cups requires both people to be willing and ready. The cards are showing me that this person is going through a transformation that will make them capable of meeting you in that Two of Cups energy, but that does not automatically mean everything will be perfect, or that you should just accept whatever they offer. The Two of Cups is about mutual respect and balance, and you get to decide what that looks like for you. What I am seeing is that when this person comes back around or tries to reconnect, they are going to be coming from a different place than before. The combination of the Queen of Swords clarity and the Strength courage means they will have done some real internal work. They will understand what went wrong and why they behaved the way they did. And the Two of Cups showing up tells me they will be ready to approach the connection in a more mature and balanced way. However, and this is important, you are not obligated to immediately accept this shift just because they have had their realization. You have been on your own journey too, as the Three of Cups showed us. You have been finding your own joy and wholeness. So when and if this Two of Cups energy manifests, it needs to be something that serves you, not just something that gives them another chance. Let me draw another card because I want to see what you need to know about navigating this situation. The Five of Cups just appeared, and at first glance this might seem like a negative card, but actually in this context it is giving us really valuable information. The Five of Cups is about loss, grief, disappointment, but also about perspective and what we choose to focus on. The Five of Cups traditionally shows a figure looking at three spilled cups while two cups remain standing behind them. It is a card about being so focused on what went wrong or what was lost that we fail to see what is still available to us. In your reading, I am seeing this card as a message about where your focus needs to be as all of this unfolds. Here is what the Five of Cups is telling you. There might be a temptation to focus on the time that was lost, the confusion you felt, the hurt of thinking this person had lost interest. You might want to dwell on the 3 months or 6 months or however long this period of distance has been. And yes, those feelings are valid. It is okay to acknowledge that their behavior affected you and that there were real consequences to their fear-based choices. But the Five of Cups is also reminding you to look at those two cups that are still standing. What is still possible? What has not been lost? What new understanding has been gained through this experience? The card is encouraging you to find a balance between acknowledging the disappointment while also remaining open to what could still be created moving forward. I am also seeing the Five of Cups as a warning not to let past disappointment cloud your judgment about future possibilities. Just because something was difficult or painful does not mean it cannot evolve into something beautiful. But at the same time, just because someone has a realization and wants to make amends does not mean you have to forget what happened. The Five of Cups asks you to hold both truths simultaneously. This card is also speaking to the importance of processing your own emotions about this situation. You might have pushed aside some of your feelings in order to move forward and live your life, which the Three of Cups showed you doing. But now, as things shift, it might be important to actually sit with those feelings and acknowledge them. Give yourself permission to feel disappointed or hurt or confused about what happened, even as you remain open to new possibilities. The next card coming through is the Two of Swords, and this is really interesting in this context. The Two of Swords is about decisions, being at a crossroads, needing to make a choice, and often about mental clarity versus emotional truth. This card is showing me that you are going to reach a point where you need to make a decision about how to move forward with this situation. The Two of Swords depicts a blindfolded figure holding two swords crossed over their heart. It is a defensive position, but also a stalemate. You cannot move forward while holding this position. Eventually, you have to lower one of the swords and choose a direction. In your reading, this represents the choice point you will face when this person comes back around or tries to reconnect. What the Two of Swords is telling me is that this decision cannot be made from your head alone. You are going to need to tune in to what your heart and your intuition are telling you. The blindfold in the card is interesting because it can represent either being unable to see clearly or having to rely on inner knowing rather than outer appearances. I am sensing it is more about the second interpretation for you. When this person reaches out or when this situation shifts, there might be a lot of logical arguments you could make either way. You could list reasons why you should give them another chance, or reasons why you should protect yourself and walk away. But the Two of Swords is saying that the real answer is not going to come from making a pros and cons list. It is going to come from sitting quietly with yourself and asking what feels true and right for you. This card is also reminding you that refusing to make a decision is itself a decision. The Two of Swords can indicate someone who is stuck in indecision, unable to move forward because they are trying to avoid making the wrong choice. But staying in that stalemate position is not neutral. It has its own consequences. So when the time comes, trust yourself to make a choice and move forward with it, even if you cannot see the full outcome yet. Now let me show you what the cards are saying about the outcome of this situation. The Four of Wands just came through, and I am actually really happy to see this card here. The Four of Wands is one of the most positive cards in the deck. It represents celebration, stability, foundation, homecoming, and reaching a milestone worth celebrating. In the context of your reading, the Four of Wands is showing me that regardless of exactly how the relationship aspect unfolds, you are heading toward a period of stability and celebration in your life. This card often appears when we have gone through some challenges or uncertainty, and finally reached a place where we can breathe and enjoy the fruits of our growth. The Four of Wands can represent several things in this situation. It could mean that after all the confusion and distance and realizations, you and this person do find a way to create something stable and worth celebrating together. The Four of Wands is often associated with partnerships and commitments, so it could indicate that the relationship reaches a new level of security and joy. But I also want you to hear this, Taurus. The Four of Wands does not require another person to manifest. This card can also represent you celebrating your own growth, stability, and foundation. Maybe the real victory here is not about whether this person comes back or whether the relationship works out. Maybe the real victory is about you discovering your own worth, learning to live joyfully, regardless of someone else's choices, and building a life that feels stable and fulfilling on your own terms. The Four of Wands appearing as the outcome card tells me that you are moving towards something worth celebrating. Trust that the universe is guiding you toward your highest good, and that this entire situation, as confusing and painful as parts of it may have been, is serving your growth and evolution. Let me pull one final card to bring this reading to a close and give you a final message about this whole situation. The Seven of Pentacles just came through, and this is such a perfect card to end on. The Seven of Pentacles is about patience, assessment, long-term planning, and trusting the process of growth. The Seven of Pentacles traditionally shows a farmer pausing to look at their crops, assessing what has grown, and contemplating whether their efforts are paying off. It is a card about being in the middle of a long-term process and needing to trust that the seeds you have planted will continue to grow, even when you cannot see immediate results. In your reading, the Seven of Pentacles is the universe telling you to trust divine timing. Everything we have talked about in this reading, the other person's realization, their journey to courage, the potential reconnection, your own choices about how to move forward, all of this is unfolding according to a timeline that serves everyone's highest good. You have been planting seeds through your choices and actions. Every time you chose to focus on your own joy, rather than chase someone who was not available, you planted a seed. Every time you honored your worth, instead of accepting breadcrumbs, you planted a seed. Every time you stayed true to yourself and your values, you planted a seed. The Seven of Pentacles is telling you that those seeds are growing, even if you cannot see all the results yet. This card is also encouraging you to be patient with the process. The brutal change mentioned in the title is not going to happen overnight. This person's realization might happen suddenly, but their ability to truly change and show up differently will take time. Your own process of deciding how you want to move forward will take time. The Seven of Pentacles reminds you that some things cannot be rushed, and that is okay. Finally, the Seven of Pentacles is asking you to assess what you truly want to grow in your life. Not what someone else wants, not what you think you should want, but what genuinely aligns with your values and your vision for your future. This situation with this person is just one aspect of your life, and the Seven of Pentacles is reminding you to keep that perspective. Are you tending to all areas of your garden, or are you giving too much attention to one potentially problematic plant? So Taurus, here is what the cards are telling us overall. This person who you thought had lost interest has not lost interest at all. They have been dealing with their own fears and wounds that had nothing to do with you. A major shift in awareness is coming for them where they realize exactly what they have been doing and what they stand to lose. They are going to find the courage to face their fears and potentially reach out to reconnect in a more authentic way. Meanwhile, you have been living your life beautifully, finding joy and connection, and building your own sense of wholeness. When this shift happens, you will need to make a decision about how you want to move forward, and that decision needs to come from your heart and intuition, not just your logical mind. The outcome is positive and worth celebrating, whether that means a renewed partnership or simply celebrating your own growth and the life you have built. The universe is asking you to be patient with the timing of all of this, and to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. You have planted good seeds through your choices and actions, and those seeds are growing into something beautiful. Stay true to yourself, honor your worth, and trust that what is meant for you will not miss you. I hope this reading gave you some clarity and insight into what is really happening beneath the surface of your situation. Remember that you always have free will and the power to choose what serves your highest good. Trust yourself, trust the process, and keep being the amazing person you are.